Ava, hi David. Thank you again so much for joining me.
Oh, we're so happy to be here.
Oh yeah.
So, for context for everyone, like you won't know this, but we've done this already before, but
Mhm.
I had some audio issues. So, we're doing this again, round two. So, again, I appreciate it. Before we get into like the questions about Disney, I'd love to know more about you guys. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and then also what inspired you to start Sense the Magic?
Yes, of course. Okay, so as you said, I'm Ava,
I'm David.
and we're Sense the Magic. Growing up, we were always going to Disney. Like, we've been annual pass holders since like before we can even remember. All of our birthday parties, everything we've ever done as a family, always around Disney. So that's where we started, and it's actually been a huge help for David. You can share your story.
Yeah. I mean, growing up on the spectrum, going to the parks was a sensory simulation, to say the least.
Mhm.
Like there are so many things happening at once. Like it's very hard to navigate. I mean, large crowds, rides, people, mostly people, and fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always grew up watching my brothers navigate that. My parents were so great in helping them. I babysat last summer and I went to Disney with the family, and there were questions with like, oh, well, we have noise canceling headphones. Should they wear it on this ride? When are the fireworks? Because they don't like fireworks. When can we be out? And I was just thinking, like, in my mind, that's like common knowledge because I grew up around Disney. My parents knew all like the tips and tricks for my brothers. So that made me realize, like, man, like kids, like on the spectrum, not on the spectrum, adults even, like I have some sensory sensitivities. They don't really know how to navigate Disney, which is why we came up with Sense of Magic,
Mhm.
because Disney is such a wonderful place and everyone should be able to experience it in a way that's comfortable for them.
Hmm.
Yeah. So on your page, Sense the Magic, can you give me a little bit? I mean, I follow you, but for everyone else. So I know you highlight some like sensory overviews. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about like what you share and how you share it? And is it just Disney World, Disneyland? What does that look like?
Well, a lot of things we share in both parks in America and even the cruise lines, like the different like services that they provide for guests with sensory sensitivities, like guest relations, first aid, wheelchairs, even different areas where they can relax and calm down, like basically stuff that not many people focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's such a great service. And as you know, like on my page, I do similar things because my son, who is on the spectrum, um, I think that this is important information that is not widely available. And a lot of people, like Ava, like you said, like a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I think it's just so important to share that Disney truly is for everyone.
Mhm.
Just you may have to do it a little bit differently. You may need to bring some more items, things like that. So I really appreciate what you both are doing. And David, you also work at Walt Disney World, right?
That is correct.
And how is it being an employee of Walt Disney World, like from a sensory perspective?
Very busy and but at the same time very fun, depending on where you work.
Yeah.
I was in food service, attractions, and even parking, like doing a lot of different roles in each one. I
Yeah.
met a wide variety of guests who come into parks, many of which have sensory sensitivities. So whenever there's like someone who's looking for like a place to relax or even facts about a ride I'm working at, I always make sure they know everything before they go on, just so that they know what they're in for.
Yeah. No, that's so important. Thank you for that. And I'm sure, you know, like you guys growing up at Disney, at Walt Disney World, basically, and now David, you work there. I mean, you really both know the parks in and out.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
So, since you have been to Disneyland and you go to Walt Disney World often, from a sensory perspective, like what do you think are the big differences to help people be aware if maybe, you know, they're thinking about traveling to either park?
Well, one of the big differences between world and land is that land is a lot more smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like compare, even though Magic Kingdom, in many ways, it's structured and positioned like the original Disneyland, it's a lot bigger. Whereas in Disneyland, a lot of the lands are smaller, they're more confined, which for people like us, it's very easier to navigate. You can just cross from Adventureland to Tomorrowland like that. Whereas
Yeah.
with in Disney World, you have to go like a long distances around
Mm-hmm.
honestly a lot more people because it can fit so much more.
What I like about Disneyland is the park hopping is so easy, but
Yeah.
like with it being so confined, it can almost feel like the crowds are larger than what they are, which is what turns me around because I also will be like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. But then my Disney World's brain's like, oh, the bathroom's there, but it's not.
Mhm.
So it's mainly like navigating that, like always having a map on hand. And maps are something that we always are like, oh, it's like a keepsake because at Disney World, like we just like the pretty pictures, but like at Disneyland's like, no, we actually need to use this. So
Yeah.
yeah, he is the map. He memorizes them. It's so cool.
We all need a David in our life, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so I've been to Walt Disney World twice. I have not taken my kids. And I think what's important to share for people that are maybe like more Disneyland focused is Disney World, you really need a lot of time. The parks are very large, which I think is great. Like we just talked about from a sensory perspective, there are probably more breaks areas, and it's
Yeah.
not as condensed. But it is very big. Like to walk from one side of the park to the other can take a long time. And for those that maybe struggle with mobility, or like for my son, like walking long distances. So
Mhm.
if you are planning a trip and you are a Walt Disney, or you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World and you are a Disneyland person, you need to give yourself the extra time for sure. And
Yeah.
also just even the transport between the different parks.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, yes.
Yeah. We've talked about this, like theme parks are overwhelming. Like we know that hands down. At Walt Disney World, where are your go-to break spots that maybe like you guys just went to Epcot yesterday. At Epcot, what are some of your, kind of like hidden little gems that you would recommend people if they need some extra time or just a quiet moment?
We highly recommend the aquarium
hmm
which houses the seas with Nemo and friends.
Yeah, and even with like the Flower and Garden Festival, like we were worried about the crowds, but while we were like going through all the different gardens, like they're just so peaceful. Especially there's one in the UK that's so nice. It's there year round, but especially right now it's like completely blooming and it was so nice to like take a break there. Yeah, Epcot actually has a lot of places, and we actually made a video on that because they have a lot of play areas for kids, so like adults can like take their break. But then there's also like when you go into each country, just keep going back, and there's going to be some calm area because we never really went deep into a lot of the countries we realized, and that's where we found some of our best spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which park do you like the best or you think is the most calming? When I see pictures, I always think Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Uh,
100%.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. We were there a few days ago actually, and they just have so many walking trails where you just
yeah.
look at the animals. It's like it's a perfect beginner park because it's almost like a zoo,
Yeah.
but like Disneyfied, which is what makes it so fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love Animal Kingdom. I think the safari is,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, we love Safari.
one of the
Mhm.
best rides. And, it's just, it's a very calming effect, I think, at Animal Kingdom. So I'm dying to know, you guys just went on a Disney cruise. I need to know all the details. How was your experience? What ship did you go on? From a sensory perspective, like, what did you think? Like, give me all the info.
The ship we boarded with the Disney Wish, we boarded it last January.
Mhm.
It was to celebrate our uncle's 50th birthday,
Mhm.
and we wasted no time in
Oh
going
my
around the
gosh, yeah.
ship, like getting as much as we could, like learning all the different services they provided, different areas to go to. Now, obviously, a lot more popular ones like Aqua Mouse or
Mhm.
even like the Pirate Night event, which is really
Oh,
fun. We were going all around the ship.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's basically like being in a hotel, but on the ocean.
yeah.
Mhm.
I will say this: there are a few things you guys need to be aware of. Like
Yeah.
on the first and third night, the ships was swaying a bit, so you feel like going
Mhm.
back and forth.
You definitely feel the ship moving, and it's a bit jarring because I haven't been on cruises in like a cruise in a year, like years. So when it started to move during the dinner, I was like, why am I feeling dizzy?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you like the entertainment?
Oh my
we
gosh,
loved
it
it.
is amazing. I'm an ex theater kid, so like those theater shows, I love them so much. They had one with like Goofy piloting the ship. There was another one that was Little Mermaid, and then they had Aladdin. Aladdin was amazing.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, it
Every
was
time we
so
see
good.
Aladdin on stage, I mean, we saw Aladdin on stage in California Adventure, on
Mhm,
Broadway, and at the
Yeah.
Disney Wish, and every
mhm.
time we love it.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
what kind of accommodations are available on the ship? Like I think about DOS, at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. Are there any sort of like accommodations on the ship for those that maybe need it from a sensory perspective or need some extra space? What does that look like?
This is something that we didn't look into a DOS specifically. We navigated it on our own. So I think the biggest tip that we have is that the ship is so big. So when you first get on, explore it and find your spot,
Mhm.
because we found a spot that was it was like a lounge, but it was very open, like it was not confined at all. And there are trivia nights there, which we had a blast with. And in the mornings they had coloring, which I thought was great because that's my de-stressor. I love coloring. And it was for both adults and parents can go to. We also loved the kids club, which
The Oceaneers Club.
is so fun, especially because they do open house nights, open house hours, which
Yeah.
is so perfect for parents. Because I remember when I went on my first Disney cruise in the third grade, I was the only one young enough to do like the check in and check out. So I was left there, and I was lucky, like, I'm stranded right now. Like, what did I get into? I'm here for a couple hours now. So the open house hours is just so great because the kids get to experience it with their parents. The parents can see how comfortable they are there before they drop them off. And then there are lots of spots outside on the deck. It can get a bit chaotic by the pools, so like going up a level is always nice, especially for like the pirate nights and stuff
Mm-hmm.
when there's fireworks. Like that's the biggest tip is getting used to the layout of the ship, making it the big ship feel smaller just by like knowing your little areas to go to.
Yeah.
Either for parents or for adults, what are your top tips to share if people are maybe feeling nervous about either going to Disneyland, Disney World, or taking a Disney cruise? Like, what would you recommend for someone that had never been to either and they maybe are nervous about it?
For us, it's have a plan.
Yeah, 100%. YouTube, especially. Like, we were watching every single YouTube video we could find for the Wish. We do that for Disneyland too. We don't ride a ride without watching it online. It's really about expectation setting, like knowing, oh, well, on Pirate Night, that's when the fireworks go off, so I know when to cover my ears. Or, like, knowing that there's so many things to do on the ship. So, like, making a list of everything, single thing that you want to do, and understanding that it might not go as planned because it's number one is plan to set
Yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
and number two is no, the plan might not go the way it's you plan it to go.
Yeah. Or not even just a ship, but also Castaway Cay.
Mhm.
Like navigating the island in
Oh
itself
my
is
goodness, yes, especially with the trams, because
Yeah.
walking anywhere is a long walk. So taking the trams, we had to wait a while for one, and luckily for us, it was like a beautiful day out, but we know that sometimes when people go to Castaway Cay, it's raining, and like
Yeah.
understanding that you might have the plan to go to Castaway Cay and hang out on the beach, but if it's raining, would you have a better time just staying on the boat? Like understanding that things might be reworked, and it's okay because you're not necessarily missing out. You're still on a Disney cruise, like
yeah. And there's all that stuff too. Like there's character meet and greets on the island. There's bicycles that you can rent to go around different play areas, even like a kiosk where you can like ask like cast members for like maps and stuff or guest services.
Yes, the cast members are so amazing on the cruise, especially because the waiters stay with you each night at the dining, so they really get to know you. They really want to know you, and then also understanding that with the dining experiences, because we just posted one on Friday, they can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
and you don't have to go to them. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. That was something I talked to my parents about. Like, you don't have to go to them, which is something I don't think a lot of guests realize.
I love that about the waiters, and I never knew that, because I think for my son, like sitting down at a dining table when he's at a restaurant, he still struggles like with ordering for himself, and he's very like nervous about it. And I think like as you're going night by night on this cruise, you get to know the waiter. The waiter knows what you like to eat, what you like to drink, and I think that is so helpful for kids that need that structure, and for adults really. So I think that Disney always thinks about these little details that really make the experience just so much more magical. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys had a great time. I'm so jealous, and I can't wait to go on a cruise.
Yes, oh my gosh, we highly recommend it. It was such a fun time.
And each one is different. Like each one may not be are they're similar, but there's different like places or even like stuff to do on the cruise compared to each one. They just made 2 new ships,
Yeah.
and already we're like, we better make notes.
Yeah, they also have a lot of great things for adults, which was nice because I'm now an adult. So like we got to go to the adult pool,
Yeah.
which oh my goodness, compared to like the regular pool where like they have like the movie on the screen, all like the people running around, the Aqua Mouse going, like it was so nice to just sit in the adult pool.
Yeah, and even the dining, outside of the dining experiences, they also have like buffets there, and
Mm-hmm.
they give guests the options of food allergy menus.
Yes, we have a lot of allergies, which is another reason why we loved having the same waiter each night because they knew our allergies, so they were just like, "Here's the allergy menu," like, and they were ready and preparing for us because sometimes
Yeah.
those orders take a lot longer.
They also have theming too on the ships. Like different rooms on the ship can be themed after a different like movie.
Yes.
Like one area is themed after Pinocchio, the other themed after Beauty and the Beast, and same with the Oceaneers Club too, or in a lot of other places and lounges. Like they have like one of my favorites is the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge
Yeah.
because it was like being in a Star Cruiser all over again.
Yes.
Obviously, I have a soft spot for the Marvel dining experience.
That one
Yeah.
was a cool one.
Yeah, I think it just sounds so amazing, and really, it sounds like you guys had the best time.
It did.
Yeah,
And and it's also nice that you're with your whole family, so that makes it
Yeah.
extra special.
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, well, David and Ava, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know this is the second time we talked, and I've so loved talking to you both again. Where can people find you, and where can they follow along?
Okay, so we're on Instagram at Sense the Magic. It's spelled right there. So Instagram, Facebook, and then we have a website that's exshoe.com. That's ECKSCHOE.com, where we also share blog posts with much more information than we have on our Instagram. So check it out.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate talking to you, and can't wait to continue to follow along on everything that Since the Magic is doing.
Yes, thank
Oh
you so
yeah.
much.
Thank
This was
you.
so nice.